Hello, everyone. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you live coverage of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft first manned launch. It is a spacecraft that NASA is planning on using to ferry people to and from low Earth orbit. And the Boeing Starliner is supposed to make its first manned test flight in 45 minutes and 59 seconds, as you can see right there. So we're going to bring you some live coverage of this. Hope it goes okay. This flight has been delayed. I think the original manned test flight was supposed to be years ago, but recently this flight has been delayed, but everything is on schedule right now. 45 minutes and 41 seconds. Our viewer, Papa Steve, says, I've been really worried about this launch. So let's hope everything goes well with this launch. Let's hope it actually takes off and goes well. And we're going to be reading some of your comments and questions on the air while we... Ooh, you know what I have to do? I'm sorry. I got to move myself. Sorry, I got to move myself down. I got to have the NASA logo on there. I forgot about that. Hold on. I'll do that right now. There, it's NASA. Hold on a second. Let me... what I'm going to do is I am going to shift myself over a little bit. That's what I need to do. Oh, I forgot about that. You know, the other choice, well, there's two choices. What I also could do is do this. Now, I think I'm going to have to shrink. I think I'm just going to move myself over. Okay, this could get a little funky. Here. How can I do this? I got to move myself over so I can... Let me do this first of all. Let me do it this way. I'm going to do this and then move myself over. I got to have the NASA logo on there. It's a NASA feed. So hang on a second here. Sorry, it's the one thing I didn't think about. That's not what I want. Where's NASA? Right here. All right, for the moment, let me do this. Why is that not working? That's not what I want. This one. Hang on a second here. I'm trying to adjust this. There. All right. For the moment, bear with me. Just bear with me for the moment. We'll make it bigger. We'll make it bigger in a second. So you can see it right there. Although I could do that, and that gives us the whole picture. Maybe I should do it this way, because that way you can see the logo of NASA, but you can also see the whole thing. If I do it full screen, how would you guys prefer it? Would you guys prefer, if I make it full screen the video, you're going to lose the bottom of the video. And I'll have to move myself over to the middle. If I do it this way, I have the logo on there, and you can see the whole video. Are you guys okay if I leave it like this? Maybe we'll leave it like this. All right, people are saying this is fine. Because I got to be on there, and I got to have the NASA logo on there. Yeah, the thing is, I don't know, they're not going to always be on this shot. They'll switch to different shots. So if I put myself on the left now, then maybe the next shot they use, you'll want to see the left. So no, I can't mess with my picture. My picture is the way it is. So we'll leave it like this for now. Yeah, I don't want to start messing. It's too complex to mess with me. So we're not going to mess with me. We're gonna leave it like this. We'll leave it like this. I mean, the other thing is, now I got to be on there. The one other option, see, if I make it bigger, the problem is you're going to lose the bottom. I think you guys probably want to see the bottom. Yeah, we'll leave it like this for now. That's what we're going to do. Maybe I'll move it up a little bit. Why is it? Hold on. Is it not up at the top here? I might move it up a little bit. There. We'll do it like that. There. Okay. By the way, there is audio on this. There's audio, but I'm going to I want to take some of your guys' comments and questions. I mean, if you want to watch the NASA feed, you can just go to NASA. When we get closer to the launch time, I'll put the audio up. But again, if you want to just watch the NASA feed, you can go and watch the NASA feed. I won't be mad. But what I'd like to do is get some of your guys. I want to read some of your guys' comments and questions. So we'll do that. This is kind of like companion coverage. All right. So I figure anybody who wants to watch the NASA feed can watch the NASA feed. Let's see here. Jane Randy says, wishing them luck. Dew John says, doors locked. Yeah, I saw that I believe you're right about that. I couldn't get on until right now. I would have liked to have gotten on a little earlier, but this I couldn't get on until right now today. So hang on a second here. So I'm a little behind on everything. Some of you guys have probably been watching this for a couple hours. Boeing Space says the cabin pressurization is complete. I can tell you that. The cabin pressurization is complete. The hatch closure is complete. That was completed 26 minutes ago. So there's that. It is launching on an Atlas V rocket. I'm going to read you some background about this too. Let me see, what is the audio here? Maybe I can, well, let me do a quick check here.
I'm going
to leave it like this. Oh, I can go, hold on. What I can also do is while they're talking, we can show you a different shot, which is, where is it here? This one. Oops. There's that shot. Hold on, I gotta make that the same size as the other one. So give me a moment here. Let me just fix this one too. See, I got to have the logo there. We'll do that. Right. So we have that shot too. So while they're talking on the now, does this have audio on it, this one? Hold on. We're not getting great audio on that one. So anyways, when the other shot goes back to live, I'll go back to the NASA feed with the clock in the corner. There's two different feeds here. NASA is like cutting back and forth between the live stuff and the you know what I could do? It's a little complex. You know what I should do? I should grab the clock. I should grab the clock from the other shot because NASA is sometimes doing like some interview shot. Give me 1 sec. I got a little idea here, guys. I got an idea. We'll do this, and we'll grab this. Oh, I like this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Did that really work? There we go. Now, what I also need to do is do this. Oops. Give me a sec. Give me a moment. I like it. And then, oh, hold on. I don't need this. Here, hold on. I'm going to go back to the other shot in a second. There we go. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit better job on that clock there. Give me 1 moment. Give me 1 moment here. There we go. Ooh, there we go. I like that. Whee! Put that there. Why am I seeing things there? Oh, no. I need 1 more moment. Let's one last time. Let's try to get this right. Let's get this right. I'll do it like this. It's not ideal, but at least you can see the clock. I can go back to the other shot now. Oh, let me go back to the other shot. Here we go. There. Now you have the clock on the screen, both ways. But let me just get this in case I need the clock later. Hold on. Launch clock. Good. Wonderful, wonderful. And let's do this. Okay, so let's do this. We'll get this off. Oops, what happened there? Little issue with the, let me switch feeds. Let me switch feeds for a second. There we go. Let me see what they have for audio here. Sorry, just getting everything set up for you. What are they saying on this?
Before that, go ahead and do it on 13. Otherwise, we'll just resync in flight, and we can help you with that when we get there.
All right, good words. We'll copy that, and if we have any questions when we get there, we'll give you a call. And I have confirmed that I can reach the tablets.
Houston copies.
That was Josh Kutrick giving some last-minute info to Butch and Sonny about their tablets, as well as in case of emergency where to go left or right at the end of the slide wires. But yeah, Starliner could land on water. We'd rather not, but it has that.
Okay, hang on.
We have just about a half hour left before
Hold
launch.
on.
Let's check back in with NASA's Antonia Jaramillo, who's now with someone who's been.
All right, I'm gonna switch back to the shot of the actual craft. And then I'm going to take some of your comments right now. Let's do that. So I do this. Okay, there we go. Okay, hey everyone. Thanks for being here. We're bringing you some live coverage of this. I find it interesting, this first manned launch of this Boeing Starliner spacecraft that NASA is planning on using for astronauts to bring them to low Earth orbit. And no, I'll tell you a little about the mission today. I'll read you a little about that, and we'll take some of your comments. But no, they're not coming. They're not just going up and down real quick. Let me tell you about that. Now what? What happened here? Okay, no, that's still live. That is live. We're live. We're all good. We're all good. We're all good. So NASA says that the launch will happen at 12:25 p.m. Eastern Time in Cape Canaveral, Florida. The Starliner will launch, and eventually, an hour and 25 minutes after launch, the Starliner will dock to the forward-facing port of the International Space Station's Harmony module. So this spacecraft is going to dock at the International Space Station 85 minutes after launch. Although I don't know that we'll have coverage of that. Maybe we will. And the two astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, two NASA astronauts, will stay at the space station for about a week to test the Starliner spacecraft and its subsystems before NASA works to complete the final certification of the transportation system for rotational missions to the orbiting laboratory as part of the agency's Commercial Crew Program. So these two astronauts are going to the International Space Station today for around a week. The original, there was a May 6th launch that was supposed to happen. That was scrubbed due to a suspect oxygen relief valve on the Atlas V rocket's Centaur second stage. Let's see here. I think there was another launch that was scrubbed too. Hold on a second. That was more recently, I think. Hang on. One moment here. One moment here. Where is it? Oh, the May 6th launch was scrubbed due to a problem with an oxygen valve on the Atlas rocket and a helium leak in the Starliner service module. But hopefully they take off today. 31 minutes until launch time. 31 minutes until launch time, as you can see right there. Okay. How will they escape if craft has issue? I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, they're in this spacecraft, right? So, I mean, at a certain point, if the craft has an issue while they're in flight, there's nowhere else for them to go. There's no other craft, right? Am I wrong about this? I mean, it's a spacecraft. It's a capsule. Although I don't know if there's like a smaller part of it. They have a launch escape system. But I mean, once it's flying, yeah, the whole thing, the whole capsule is 16.5 feet long and has a diameter of 15 feet. The capsule's at the top of the rocket. The capsule is at the top of the rocket. So the capsule itself, according to Wikipedia, is 16.5 feet long and 15 feet in diameter. It's not that big. A Google user says first human Boeing flight. Yes, this is the first crewed flight test of this spacecraft. Is this the first Boeing spacecraft? That I don't know. Is the rocket reusable? That's a good question. I want to say I don't believe so, but I don't know. I got to look that up. Scotty K says the rocket is not reusable. There you go right there. It's the Atlas V rocket. It is expendable. It's an expendable launch system and the fifth major version of the Atlas launch vehicle family. It was originally developed by Lockheed Martin, says Wikipedia. Now it is being operated by United Launch Alliance, a joint venture between Lockheed Martin and Boeing. It is used for DoD, NASA, and commercial payloads. That's the rocket. That's why it says ULA there. Let me go back to the NASA feed for a second, and let me just see what the NASA feed is saying. Hold on.
The first woman to test an orbital spacecraft. Another fun fact, the last time people flew to space in an Atlas-class rocket was 61 years ago at the end of the Mercury program.
Hear that? The last time somebody flew to space in an Atlas-class rocket was 61 years ago.
Craft to ferry astronauts to and from the space station, which really is a wonderful resource to us and many countries and also research institutions.
Guys, about 28 minutes until this launch. 28
All right, again,
minutes.
28 minutes, 5 seconds to liftoff. Let's head back over to Brandy and Jim inside Mission Control in Houston.
LCP-2. Go ahead. Since our LH2 SVB cycle tests are complete.
Flight test
Roger.
Flight Director Mike Lammers is just about to poll the flight control team here in Houston for a go or no-go, verifying that all of Starliner systems are ready for launch today. Everything's looking good at the moment, and Lammers will use this poll to determine his own response to the final go-no-go poll by the launch conductor just before liftoff.
Here we go, go or no go poll.
Once we do get into the terminal countdown time frame, there are...
Go ahead. Roger, do we have the temperature update complete?
Roger, the RP1 temperature update complete.
Roger. Prop 1, initiate fuel fill sequence.
Roger.
And once we're in that terminal countdown time frame,
go ahead.
Yeah, we've been discussing it for the CISA, probably to disable.
Roger. Convene the anomaly team and provide a recommendation.
We'll go.
Hey, thanks.
7 minutes.
Sorry. Thanks to Futter Tots and Red Squirrel 82, by the way. Thanks to all of our moderators who are here.
The first
LC arm control.
one of the major activities that...
Go ahead.
Like,
Step 100. Arm hydraulic final preps are complete. Roger.
They're going to the International Space Station for like a week.
One of the first activities Mike Lammer's team will be doing is transitioning Starliner from ground power to battery power. That'll come about 18 minutes before launch. We leave it about as late as possible so that the team can launch with those batteries as close to full power as possible. A few minutes later, with less than 10 minutes to go before liftoff, Starliner's ordnance will be armed, and that activates the critical systems that are needed to detach all the things from Starliner that will ultimately jettison as it climbs to orbit, and if it were needed to abort. And finally, just 1 minute and 15 seconds before launch, they'll work with the crew to activate the launch abort system, which would rocket the crew to safety in the case of an abort, or on the pad, or early in the ascent.
This is likely the last you'll hear from us until liftoff, so we are going to send you back to the team in Florida to let Megan, Dee, and Mike see us through the rest of the countdown. We'll be back once Starliner is on its way. Go Starliner.
Randy and Jim. Okay, let's take a closer look now at Starliner. The next generation crew capsule measures 16.5 feet tall with a diameter of 15 feet. That's about the size of a mid-size SUV. It was designed to carry up to 7 astronauts or a mix of crew and cargo for missions to
there
the
it is. There's the capsule
After
right there.
After today's test flight, NASA will fly crews of 4 or 5 with cargo. And Starliner is also reusable up to 10 times.
Yeah, we're looking
LCOSM.
to getting...
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Per step 60, flight hazard area has been cleared. All personnel accounted for.
Roger.
All right, everybody is in place for launch. Starliner, we're looking forward to getting it certified so we can continue our missions to the International Space Station with 4 NASA astronauts. And Boeing will have the option to use Starliner to fly to other space stations and to help build the low Earth economy, low Earth orbit economy.
Hey, Mike, let's squeeze in a social question since we've invited viewers to send them to us. This is from John on YouTube asking, how did the astronaut train for this mission?
I'm going to...
Actually, a question from a 10-year-old named Maddie.
Well, hi, Maddie. Hi, John. Yeah, so we spend...
I'm going to take a couple of your comments for a second. First of all, I want to thank our moderators who are here with us. We have Danny James is moderating. Thank you so much, Danny James. Linda Belk and Larry. Kinetic is moderating. Thank you, Kinetic. Oh, let me go back to the other shot right now. We'll stay on that shot right now. We have, hang on a moment, I'll let you know in a second. 23 minutes and 47 seconds till the launch. We have David Green and Mick Britches moderating over there on Twitch. Thanks, Mick Britches, for resubscribing, by the way. And thanks to our Facebook moderators. I'm going to read a couple of your comments here. Really appreciate our Britches for resubscribing. Thanks to our Facebook moderators. Really appreciate all of you being there as well. Really quick, I wanted to mention a CBS News article mentions that they say that the Starliner is Boeing's answer to SpaceX's Crew Dragon. SpaceX's Crew Dragon has already carried a number of astronauts and cosmonauts and civilians to space on 13 flights. But CBS News says that NASA funded the development of this spacecraft along with the SpaceX Crew Dragon to ensure the agency could launch crews to the space station even if one company's ferry ship were grounded for any reason. So SpaceX Crew Dragon has already been taking astronauts to the International Space Station. This is another spacecraft, the Boeing Starliner, which today is taking its first manned flight, and it's going to take 2 astronauts to the International Space Station. Okay. Envy says, so glad NASA is back in the game. Carol O'Neill says, love space missions. This is the world's future. Let's see here. Hang on a second.
But so that's the adapter between Atlas and Centaur. And this measurement is something that's automatically disabled when we enter our terminal count at T-minus 4 minutes.
Oh, minus 22
but
minutes.
Over the past few minutes, we've observed this measurement bouncing around a little bit. So
Now
now that the vehicle is fully loaded with propellants and we've been stable for quite a while, this measurement is really not something that we rely heavily on when we're fully tanked and stable. So we're going to go ahead and disable it early rather than waiting for the automatic disable as we approach terminal count, and that just would prevent any what we'd consider to be a nuisance alarm at this point. So nothing major there. It's kind of a standard operating procedure for a noisy measurement like this.
And we are just a little over 21 minutes
Go
out
ahead.
from launch.
Cargo suppressor charge is complete.
Roger.
As I was saying, just a little over, right now, about 21 minutes out from launch. And I've been thinking a lot about Butch and Sunny going back to the ISS for a third time for both of them. You know, Sunny told us that really the ISS
I'm going to read some more of
feels
your
like home
comments
for them. If you
in a
think about
second.
it, they've both spent a good portion of time there. They both spent 6 months in their first trip up and 6 months in their second trip up. So now going back for their third time, they're going to a place that they consider home. If you think about living somewhere for literally a year out of your life, you know, it means a lot to you. It's very special. And Sunny even told us that...
Go ahead.
Step 90, all secondary decoms verified on RF link.
Roger.
And Sunny even told us that she cried the last time she left the ISS because she thought it...
Let me take a few more comments and questions from you guys. Have they checked all the doors, says Tim. Let's see here. FPZ Papa Zulu says 20 minutes till launch. Is this competition for SpaceX? Again, NASA wants to have multiple companies making launch vehicles for them. So now maybe it's competition for private. I mean, you know, Boeing and SpaceX can use these vehicles for, you know, they can have private companies could hire them to use their vehicles too. So in my amateur, non-expert opinion, it would seem that it would be competition in terms of private use of it. Also, I would assume if one works way better than the other, then NASA might prefer to use that one. But NASA has already been using SpaceX capsule to take astronauts to and from the space station. This is the first manned launch. The original manned launch of this craft was supposed to be 2017, and it's been delayed. But this is the first manned launch of this Boeing Starliner space capsule on an Atlas V rocket. So, but it's this capsule has not been launched with people in it before. All right, hold on. Let's check the volume again.
Maintain operational silence in the LCC.
So, Lauren, that's kind of
the LC with a terminal count briefing. If a condition exceeds the launch constraint anytime after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
So, Lauren, we just heard a couple of our standard pre-launch announcements. During the countdown, the individual teams, so think of the Atlas propulsion team and the Centaur propulsion team, are off working on separate nets as they perform their functions. All that work is complete, and so essentially what that last announcement does is bring the entire team back to the primary command channel, net 1, or loop 1 as we call it, and the rest of the countdown will now be conducted on net 1,
Roger.
and you know, we'll all kind of hear that together.
18 minutes.
Also, at this point,
Flight
our
control,
operators are going to be heads down.
Verification.
Roger.
And so the only conversation in the LCC from this point forward is just going to be the working through the launch procedures. There'll be no other ancillary conversation whatsoever.
And we'll also be listening to some of those side channels that aren't public on your TV screen right now. So we'll be listening for a few polls, one that's called the Starliner Readiness Poll for terminal count. And that is one of the shorter polls, and it will be coming from the Boeing Mission Control Center, or we call it the BMCC here in Florida. The spacecraft launch conductor, Brian Gardner, will poll people in that room in charge of the propulsion system and power and many other subsystems. He will have 3 call-outs to him.
minus 17 minutes.
OSM, place SRB ignition SNA switch to the enable position.
SRB
Getting close, guys.
And verify FCO, RCO, and OSM hold fire switches are in the proceed position.
Ready to proceed.
Launch on time verified.
Roger.
Launch on time verified.
And
LCP
that's
81.
something.
Go ahead.
AHB charging reestablished and at flight mass.
Roger.
So, Lauren, we're quickly coming to the end now of the launch vehicle pre-launch procedure, and we're just about 7 minutes away from our terminal count status check. But we heard a couple of call-outs there. That one of the range safety representatives activated the SRB ignition enable, so that allows us to fire the SRB ordnance circuits that ignite the SRBs at T0. Those circuits are not enabled till just as we heard, just a few moments ago.
minus 16 minutes.
And also another range safety system is the hold fire system. So there are remote switches at the Space Launch Delta 45 Morel Operations Center up the road. And if any of the range safety representatives see an issue, they can press a button and stop our countdown remotely. So those switches have been enabled as well.
All right, you are taking a live look at Atlas V and Starliner stacked on top with astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams inside, ready to go to space. We are just coming up on about 15 minutes from launch, and we are going to send it over to NASA's Daryl Nell at Hangar AE. Daryl.
Thank you very much, Lauren. And you've.
All right, I'm going to take some comments from you guys. So again, we're waiting for this launch. The first launch of this Boeing Starliner spacecraft, which is intended to, NASA wants to use this to bring people to low Earth orbit. And today, this Boeing Starliner is going to take these two astronauts to the International Space Station. The launch is scheduled for 12:25 p.m. Eastern Time, and at 1:50 p.m. Eastern Time, that's after 85 minutes, it's supposed to dock to the space station. And then about an hour and 45 minutes after that, the hatch is supposed to open. And then they go into the space station. I don't know how long we're going to have this coverage for, but we'll stay with it for a while and see what we see. And let's see. You can see there, you can see the 14 minutes. And I hope everything goes okay here. Again, this spacecraft, it's on an Atlas V rocket, but this spacecraft has never flown with people in it. This is the first manned flight of this spacecraft. It's technically a test flight. Yes, and as a bunch of you have said, in terms of Boeing aircraft have had some issues in recent years. This is a Boeing spacecraft. So I see some people in the chat talking about Boeing aircraft. But hopefully this goes okay. Yeah, SC Lady says, hopefully it doesn't have issues the other planes are having. Let's see. Let me get the volume back here.
Line our visors open, please, while we work the suit fans. Visors open.
Oops. What do I need to do?
So you're going to have the astronauts open their visors.
All right, visors are open.
While they work into issue with
them. Houston, but suit fan Bravo went down and switched to Alpha. It had a BP low, and then
what happened?
Went off. We still show power to Alpha is on.
What happened? Did something happen?
Working in
Did something?
Oh, minus 13 minutes.
And Starliner, we showed the same for your info. We're swapping suit fans back to Bravo. Continue to stand by for us.
What happened?
Anymore?
Did something happen? It sounds like something happened.
So the issue here is a problem with the primary suit fan operation. They got to have that suit fan to keep the air circulating inside their suits. With that having a warning, they've asked, Capcom has asked the astronauts to pop open their visors so they can get some fresh air, and they'll work it into a redundant mode, going into a redundant suit fan. So they continue to work that. As we get under T-minus 12 minutes and counting.
Issue with the suit fans, the astronaut suit fans. You just heard it. Hopefully they can get it fixed.
Team working an issue in real time right now.
LC Flight Channel 1.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the condition we're in an LCT condition with both suit fans down. We're trying to get these reactivated.
Oh, no.
But, we're going to proceed.
Roger.
Are they going to go on launch anyway?
I'm good.
Roger.
Are they going to launch anyway?
All right, the team continuing to work the suit fan issue. Again, just to recap on weather, we're go. And now we're looking to take the next steps. So we'll send it back to Megan, Mike, and Dee.
Minus 11 minutes.
As you just heard there, 11 minutes to liftoff.
Roger.
From only the 6th-time NASA astronauts will launch on a new spacecraft designed for crew. I want to ask you really quick before we toss it over for that terminal count, the final moments of the countdown. How are you guys feeling?
Feeling great, excited, making sure teams work to troubleshoot the last little bit, and hopefully we'll see liftoff today.
I'm very excited for Butch and Sunny, and as we like to say, go Atlas, go Centaur, go Starliner.
Go Butch and Sunny, that's right. All right, so let's send it over to the ASOC where Lauren and Dylan will walk us through the final moments of the countdown.
All right, thank you, Megan. So what we are looking for next here is that crew access arm to start making its way back over.
Starliner, on our end, we brought suit fan Bravo back on. It looked good. We need both. We need to prove that A is also there. So we're commanding Alpha on and then off at this time. More to follow.
What's happening with the suit
Yes,
fan?
we see it. And we're still visors up, so you know.
All right.
So you hear this troubleshooting happening in real time. They are moving forward with everything else while they troubleshoot
Flight
that
verify CST 100 on internal power. Verified. Starliner, configure ordnance for launch.
Second work.
They're trying to work on the suit
Starliner
fans.
on internal power now. The spacecraft is running completely on its own. Ordnance has also been configured for launch.
Fan Bravo, suit fan Alpha is also working to a clear LCC condition. And for the crew, you can take visors down.
Oh, visors down, that's good, right?
Visors down and ordnance configured.
Visors down? That sounds like it's good.
All right, it's got to feel good.
All right.
Configured.
LC copies both.
All right, it's got to feel good to put those visors down now.
So, Lauren, we were seeing that big visual cue, the crew access arm retracting. It takes about 2 minutes to retract and stow 120 degrees away from Starliner back against the crew access tower. In the event of an emergency, it can be redeployed in less than 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We don't want to see it. A couple of polls coming up here in about 2 minutes, the launch vehicle poll.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on. We got the live video there. Give me a moment.
A couple of polls coming up here in about 2 minutes, the launch vehicle poll, launch vehicle management poll.
Yeah, Lauren, that's right at L-8 minutes. Next door to us in the Mission Director Center, that's going to be the mission management team poll for launch. And at L-7 minutes, the final terminal count status check down in the LCC. And that is where Chief Launch Conductor Doug Lebo will poll his team, verify their readiness, and then the launch director next door to us will give him permission to launch today.
LC arm control.
Go ahead.
Crew access arm stowed for launch.
Roger.
All right, the crew access arm is stowed.
LC switch to ready position.
Everything looking good?
All steps are complete prior to status check.
All right.
And Dylan and I will be a little more quiet as we get closer here to launch so we can listen in to all of the actions as they're happening in real time. Again, just under 7.5 minutes till Starliner astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams make history as the first crew headed to the International Space Station on Boeing Starliner.
Let's hope everything works well.
L-7 minutes.
Status check to proceed with terminal count, Atlas systems, propulsion,
Go.
hydraulics,
Go.
pneumatics,
Go.
LO2,
Go.
water,
Go.
Centaur systems, propulsion,
Go.
Wow.
pneumatics,
Go.
LO2,
Go.
LH2,
Go.
has gas,
Go.
Electrical systems, airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
Op support.
Go.
Com.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
Arm control.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Flight director.
Houston flight is go.
Starliner.
Starliner, go.
Launch director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding
Wow.
with the count. ALC
Proceeding-
verify T0 is set for 16:25:40 Zulu.
Verified.
Starliner net is clear.
Thank you, LC. To all of you sitting on console, whether you're in Houston, BMCC, ASOC, Atlas, this is a great day to be proud of your nation. And all of you listening as well, whether you're at Banana Creek or the Causeway or the rooftop of LCC or the ASOC and other places around our nation, like the Bay Area building and other places where you are viewing what's taking place. Again, out of ULA and NASA. And we are one nation, under God, indivisible. And when we together use the power of that combination, we can do some pretty amazing things. So LC, with that, we are ready to put some fire in this rocket and propel this spacecraft to the International Space Station.
Wow.
Where all these fine Americans have designed and have prepared it to be. Calypso, take us to space and back.
Whoa.
Roger, Starliner.
Here we go, guys. 4.5 minutes. First manned Boeing
LC flight,
Starliner launch.
Configured for terminal count.
Roger. All steps are complete prior to terminal count.
And with that, we are ready to go to space, Lauren.
Hard not to be emotional listening to those words from Butch. I'm sure we'll be playing
On
that
my
speech
mark,
back for a
the
long
Will
time.
be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Wow.
3:55.
Ground pyros enabled.
Launch pad ordnance circuits are now enabled.
Up next, liftoff.
Hold, hold, hold. Flight control received to CCLS. Hold it.
No! Hold!
T-minus 350.
Oh, no!
LC switch
Oh, no.
not ready. All personnel turn to recycle section. Operation 80. LC switch is not ready. Clock stopped at T-minus 3 minutes 50 seconds. Starliner, you should not hear any vent at this point.
Starliner standing by.
ALC reset countdown clock to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
Active.
I don't know what's going on.
LC Puny 2.
What's
Go
happening?
ahead.
Sensor
What's
tank
happening?
pressures are stable.
Roger.
LC Peony 1.
Go ahead.
Atlas tank pressures are stable.
Roger.
We're on
OSM,
hold.
place SRB ignition SNA switch to disabled position.
SRB ignition disabled.
Okay, consoles, step 60, report launch vehicle status. Atlas lead.
Atlas tank pressures and helium bottles stable. Atlas propulsion system stable.
Roger. Centaur lead.
Centaur tank pressures and helium bottles stable. Centaur propulsion system stable. Has gas readings nominal.
Roger. Vehicle electrical.
So why do they put it on hold? I don't even
VE
know, but
channel
it's on
1.
hold. So we are on hold about 4 minutes before launch. They put it on hold. Maybe they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Avionics system stable.
Roger.
Again, there
and
were about
LC can verify no indications of hazards. Flight, LC.
LC Starliner systems are stable.
Roger. Starliner, last arm switch to off.
Last arm switch is off.
They had 3 minutes and 50 seconds left, and they put it on hold. That's why you don't see a clock right now. So what's happening? That's why you don't see that countdown clock. They put it on hold at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. A lot of our viewers think it's not going to happen.
SSVAP's inactive. OCU safe and EDS in test mode.
Roger. Arm control, deploy the crew access arm.
Roger.
Deploy the crew access
arm? Proceed with ordnance deactivation.
Deactivation? Uh-oh. Is that it? Did they call it off? Oh, did they miss the window? One of our viewers said they missed the window. Did they scrub it? Hold on. Did they actually scrub it?
Roger.
LC.
Go ahead, ALC.
No launch today. No launch today. Breaking news. No launch today.
Flight, verify CST 100 ordnance is safe.
Verified.
No launch today, guys. Jeff Faust says no launch today with Space News Inc. No launch today, according to Jeff Faust.
Back to T-4 in holding configuration. Hold time occurred at T-3 minutes 50 seconds. Report status at completion.
Yes. The no launch today. I have multiple reports online, including Jeff Faust from Space News Today.
Power to external.
Copy. We'll put it in order.
Wow. No launch today. They have scrapped the launch.
Go ahead.
Stephen Clark with Ars Technica says no launch today as well.
LC Lux 2.
Go ahead.
Substep Golf, Centaur LO2, continuing topic.
Roger.
LC Fuel 2.
Go ahead.
Centaur LH2, continuing topping.
Roger.
LC Peony 1.
Go ahead, Peony 1.
Atlas Pneumatics, pressure stable.
Roger.
LC Peony 2.
Go ahead.
Substep Echo CEC active.
Roger.
And substep Foxtrot sensor pneumatic system stable.
Roger.
Again, reporters for both for Ars Technica says no launch.
Delta, Atlas propulsion, and hydraulic system stable.
Roger.
Jeff Faust from Space News
LC ECS.
Inc. says no launch today.
November ECS set point stable.
Roger.
Yes. Marina Korn with the Atlantic says no launch today. So no launch today, guys. Eric Berger at Ars Technica says if it can be turned quickly, ULA has a launch opportunity on Sunday when weather conditions are expected to be similarly favorable. Eric Berger with Ars Technica says no details yet on what caused the launch. Wow, they're taking the crew off the capsule.
Kilo flight control ready.
Roger.
They're taking the crew off right now. Look, they're taking the crew off. They're actually, this is, it's so annoying for the crew. They got to bring the arm over and take the crew off. They were 4 minutes away from going. We don't know why they aborted it yet. We don't know. They were having an issue with the astronaut suit fan about 50 minutes before launch, but apparently they were going to still launch, and that had been dealt with. But wow, this is so anticlimactic. Breaking news, they're taking the astronauts off the capsule. Look, this is it was supposed to go on May 4th?
If you're just joining us here at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station,
go ahead. True access arm is deployed.
Roger.
We did have a automatic hold of our ground launch sequencer shortly after we began our terminal count for today's launch attempt. No indication yet as to what caused that hold of the automatic ground launch sequencer. The team is still evaluating data. In the meantime, the team is active recycling the vehicle to a good holding state so that we can prepare for our next steps. But for now,
Roger.
We are holding at T-minus 4 minutes, recycling the vehicle after a hold of our ground launch sequencer shortly after picking up terminal count for today's launch opportunity.
They got all the way to the 5 minutes before, around 5 minutes before liftoff time, there was this big speech. I don't know who was making the speech, but somebody there made this big speech. It sounds like it was a pre-written speech, and they were showing video, and it was very inspiring. So they wait to do that until 5 minutes before liftoff. And then like a minute after that, with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left, they put it on hold, and now the launch is scrubbed. So we got to hear the big inspiring speech. I feel bad for the astronauts. I mean, I guess I think they've already been to the space station before, but hold on. Let me just fix this here. Let me get you the video back. But so, it's probably just part of the business. If you're an astronaut, things can be scrubbed. Probably you'd rather be safe than sorry, but it's you probably get all psyched up to go, and then it's like, this happens. Nick Hummer says, what a waste of a speech. So this, according to Wikipedia, the original first crew test flight of the spacecraft was originally supposed to be in 2017.
Secure CST-100 prop system, last valve to remain open.
Flight copies. Probably take us at least 5 minutes here.
Yeah, copy.
Originally, they were supposed to have a manned flight in 2017. There were many delays in the development.
We're going to send it over to NASA's Daryl Nail over at Hangar AE for some continuing coverage of our current
FTS
status.
LC.
Daryl?
Hang on.
Thanks, Dylan. And I'm listening to the NASA operations manager's loop.
Recycle status.
Recycle.
Roger. SYS LC.
Yes, LC. GC30 is ready.
Roger.
Danette says, we want to know what happened. Well, maybe we'll hear what happened in a couple minutes. We have not heard yet.
As you mentioned, the ULA team now safing the vehicle, making sure all the high-energy systems that were prepared to launch are now put into a safe configuration. At 12:21 p.m., roughly T-minus 3 minutes and 39 seconds, we got a hold.
Launch Director, LC Channel 1.
LDM1.
Yes, sir. So we had a hold call at T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds by the CCLS launch sequencer. So at this time, we've completed our recycle back to T-minus 4 and holding configuration and ready to proceed with a scrub crew egress operation.
Scrub crew egress operation.
Yeah,
get them out of there.
Stand by.
Roger.
There you heard confirmation of the scrub call for this launch attempt today. Again, this was the ground launch sequencer, essentially the computer that launches.
Roger.
This is the computer that is
Okay, all personnel going to Operation 85. OSM, LC.
OSM.
Establish the BDA roadblocks and open the flight hazard area.
Roger.
And all personnel on Channel 1 will be starting an approximate 65-minute hold at this time for flight crew egress. All systems maintain T-minus 4 and holding configuration.
The hold time is not relevant at this point. The fact is they're getting it into a state where they can go through and get the crew out of the spacecraft. But I was mentioning the computer. This is the computer that when we go into terminal count, launches the rocket, brings a number of systems and a huge number of operations all at a rapid pace. Something with the GLS, it's not understood at this time what it is. cause the GLS to throw an automatic holdout at T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Arm control.
Yeah, per step 40, can you give me that call out on the status of the crew access arm?
Crew access arm deployed and latched. Arm control is terminated, ready for personnel access.
Roger. And FELC?
Go ahead.
Start CAT TVM system monitoring.
Roger.
So Jeff Faust,
RLM,
who is
LC.
with
RLM
Space News.
Disable RLM line items for crew egress per red line report.
Roger. LC.
Jeff
Go
Jeff
ahead.
Faust with Space News says.
System enabled. Readings nominal.
Roger.
Hang on a second. Jeff Faust with Space News says they could lift off at 12:03 tomorrow p.m. There's also windows on June 5th at 10:52 a.m. and June 6th at 10:29 a.m.
The NASA
That's according to
operations
Jeff
manager
Faust.
now conveying to his team that they are looking at possibly a 24-hour turnaround.
Go ahead, flight.
Yeah,
Possibly
TSP
24-hour
100
turnaround.
on ground power.
Roger.
Of course, there'll be a lot of data to look at, but
And flight LC?
We don't know why
Okay, go
this
ahead.
launch was scrubbed
Yeah,
yet.
just looking
We don't
for,
know
your
what the
estimate
problem
for
was.
prop system securing, to support pad entry.
Need 5 more minutes.
Roger. Thank you.
everything you're hearing now is about getting the crew, which is the primary focus at this moment by the launch team, out of the spacecraft and back on the ground. So configuring the crew access arm, it's locked in. They continue to do the operations which are in their schedule for a launch scrub, moving through those methodically.
They said that like the flight computer that controls the launch just scrubbed it or put it on hold 3 minutes and 50 seconds beforehand. And they don't know why the computer did that yet. They have to figure it out.
The report out that we heard by the CGLS was that at the time of the scrub, when the hold was listed, it didn't appear to load into the proper configuration. ULA will work to try to understand the cause behind that. They don't know that at this time. They'll be studying the data. NASA's commercial crew team will be right there with them, helping.
LL says computers saved their lives. I don't know what would have happened if it had launched.
Throughout this process.
But the computer, it's interesting, the computer put a hold on it, and they have to look at the data to figure out why that happened. It's very interesting.
So we can see on the views here inside Hangar AE that they have the crew access arm back locked into the Starliner. You can see that on your screen there.
See, the capsule's way on top of the rocket. So again, there's a chance they could do this launch tomorrow. They might do a 24-hour turnaround. By the way, thanks to Canal VOO, our new member, and Alex BZ.
Just to recap, if you're just joining us at 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time, T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds until liftoff.
Yes. The launch was scrubbed. Thanks, Lisa Messer, for the gift memberships, too. Thanks, Lisa.
A hold was given by the ULA launch team. An automatic hold that was issued by the ground launch sequencer, the computer that takes over terminal count.
Thanks, Janice McConnell, as well. Thanks, Janice. The computer put it on hold
by the launch team is to make sure the rocket is in a good and safe configuration That's many of the calls that you're hearing out. And also that they, once it is safe enough, that they get the crew of Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, have them exit the spacecraft, come back down the elevators, and head back to crew quarters.
So, you know, obviously, I would think obviously before they do the launch, they need to figure out why it was scrubbed this time. So I don't know how long that's going to take. But if they're going to do a launch tomorrow, I would certainly assume they need to know why it was put on hold now. But they got to look at the data. Crazy. Let me see if I see any updates here. Doc John says ground computer freaked out. Hey, thanks to Shafiq Abdusabr for becoming a member. Sorry we couldn't show the launch because there was no launch, but it's been interesting to see this. I mean, just 3 minutes and 50 seconds before.
I want to bring in United Launch Alliance
here we go.
Commentator Dylan Rice.
System stable.
Pneumatic.
And yeah, Daryl, the team continues to work through the process to establish a stable configuration so that we can start pulling the crew off of the Starliner capsule. Still no update yet in terms of what caused the ground launch sequencer abort, but just like loading the crew, we establish a safe and stable configuration with the launch vehicle before we begin the egress process. And the configurations are very, very, very close to the same, actually. We'll be maintaining the propellant systems in a topping mode and not changing the state of the Atlas or Centaur as we go through the approximate 1 hour process of egressing Butch and Sonny from the Starliner capsule. But teams are continuing to evaluate the data and look into the cause of the ground launch sequencer abort. In the meantime, we will start to see indications that the team is re-entering the pad. And in fact, the direction was just given to allow the blue team back into the pad. So we will start to see that activity now, and teams come back into the pad, back up the tower, and begin the process of opening up Starliner and egressing Butch and Sonny.
Yeah, so that's a good sign there. You mentioned with the blue team coming back to the pad, they are the ones that will pull the crew out of Starliner. We heard that the pad area is cleared for them to come in. It's a good sign. Dylan, what's your time estimation on the team going through the rest of their procedures to make sure that the crew can go ahead and get up the elevator?
Actually, I think that we're there. So it's been it's been just about 20 minutes since the hold was called, and in that 20 minutes time, we've established those configurations. In fact, we don't even let the pad team come back through the fence line until those safe and stable configurations have been established. So. Once the team will of course be standing by at the fallback area, and they were contacted via radio and told to proceed back to the gate, and they will proceed through the gate and right back up to the crew access tower and on up to level 12 where they can begin configuring the white room. So we are there at this point in terms of being ready to redeploy the environmental seal, which kind of encloses the Starliner door into the white room, and then we'll begin opening up Starliner so that we can egress Butch and Sonny.
Yeah, we can see from this shot here that environmental seal is not on. Of course, this is the configuration right before you move the crew access arm either away or back to the capsule. So you can see the open air between the white room and the crew capsule. that will take the blue team, of course, getting up to the White Room to put that environmental seal in place, which they are on the way. I'm monitoring some of the camera feeds. They haven't arrived yet, but they are on their way, as we've heard from the loops. Dylan, just give us an idea of the role the ground launch sequencer plays in the final 10 minutes of terminal count.
So essentially, the launch sequencer is performing all the actions that are occurring during the terminal count. So you will hear our operators provide status throughout the terminal count, but those operators are not actually performing manual actions. They're just reporting on the actions of the ground launch sequencer. So, for instance, the vehicle propellant tanks will transition from a topping mode into a pressurization mode as they are pressurized to their flight pressure. Once the tanks are pressurized, we'll start to configure the avionics systems as well for launch, and ultimately hand over to from the ground computer to the flight computer, which handles the actual final seconds of the countdown prior to liftoff. But the ground launch sequencer is securing propellant topping. It's beginning the process of pressurizing the vehicle for flight. It will be transitioning the vehicle from the ground electrical systems to the onboard batteries, and enabling the ordnance systems, ultimately leading to the engine ignition sequence once the control has been handed over from the ground computer over to the flight computers.
And you've mentioned just some of the things that GLS does, right? It is a very busy computer in the final 10 minutes, as you mentioned, going through all of these very timely high-energy systems that are being configured at in the last minutes before liftoff. To recap, if you're just joining us, the mission, the NASA Boeing's crew flight test of the Boeing Starliner was scrubbed at 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time when a hold was issued by the ground launch sequencer for the Atlas V rocket. It was at T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds, just a little less than 4 minutes before liftoff when that abort was called.
Again, we don't know why that launch computer put the hold on. Basically a launch computer takes over the launch.
Williams, who are inside the capsule at the top of this rocket, as you can see here, are safe and are awaiting. There you see a shot of them. There's Sonny on the left.
Yeah, so we don't know yet why the launch computer, which basically takes over the launch right before the launch, we don't know why it put a hold on things. And just so you know, I'm not an expert on this, but they have to launch. There's only certain times of day that they can launch this rocket so that it'll go where it needs to go. So there's certain launch windows. There's certain precise times where they can launch this thing so that it goes where they need for it to go. So I guess tomorrow there's a launch window, and then I'm hearing in the next week there's a couple launch windows. But I guess once it's on hold, it can miss its launch window. So I don't know if the hold was. My guess is maybe when they have it hold that I don't know if it's something where they. Like, if the launch window was bigger, would they have scrubbed it right away, or would they have tried to figure it out? I don't know. But they don't even know at this point what was wrong. They just know that the computer, which takes over the launch in the minutes before the launch, just put it on hold. But they don't know why the computer did that yet.
Head back up the launch tower and up into the White Room.
Let me take a few comments from you guys. Hey, thanks so much, Marty Hagwood. Thanks, Marty. That's really kind of you. Thanks for shouting out the mods. Thanks also, Janice McConnell, for your support. Let me take a couple of comments and questions from you guys.
We've been listening to the ULA team safe the Atlas V vehicle.
Chi-Town Bear says there should be a code and information why.
That, the tanks for the liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen, the RP1 propellant Make sure everything is in a safe.
Yeah, somebody asked how much does it cost when there's a scrubbed launch? I don't know. There was already a scrubbed launch on, where was it here? May 6th, there was supposed to be a launch, and they had a problem with an oxygen valve on the Atlas rocket and a helium leak in the Starliner service module. That was the May 6th launch, and that has been delayed a bunch. Again, the original schedule, according to Wikipedia, the original schedule was that the first crewed test flight of this capsule would be in 2017. So it's now 2024. But
this is something that we practiced many times.
So close to happening today.
And the teams follow along during those sims where a scrub is often the case in some of the different sim scenarios they put together. And so they will go through this checklist that they know very well, where they will go through the everything that it takes to basically get the spacecraft back in the shape that it needs to be in so that we can turn around and do this again and go for it again. Of course, we have launch windows tomorrow, as well as the 5th and the 6th. We don't yet know
the 5th and the 6th.
How quickly the turnaround would be for this, if it's something we can get back in order for tomorrow, or if we need to wait until the 5th or 6th. But, Butch and Sunny are veteran astronauts who are very used to the world of scrubs. During the last scrub, we even talked about how Sunny says that sometimes the scrub just knocks the pressure off a little bit, and they're used to it. So if you've heard Butch's voice on the loops in the last 20 minutes or so, you can tell that his spirits still seem high. Of course, it's disappointing, but it is part of the business, and the ultimate goal is just to make sure that our precious cargo, Butch and Sunny, are safe.
Absolutely.
So you heard,
well said, Lauren. And
you heard her say there's a launch window tomorrow, there's a launch window on the 5th, and there's a launch window on the 6th of June. But they don't know how long it's going to take to deal with whatever they have to deal with. They got to figure out why the computer put this on hold and deal with whatever they have to deal with. They just don't know right now what the issue was and how long it'll take to fix it.
Make sure it was safe for people to go back to the pad and to pull the crewed out. Starliner, as you know, was also safed. And they are headed in the elevator.
They're going up to the capsule now to get the crew. Hey, thanks to Haas McKayfabe on Twitch for the bits. Thanks, Haas McKayfabe.
You're a launch conductor, and so you've done a number of launches. In situations like this, there can be a 24-hour recycle. We don't know if that's going to be the case yet. But tell me about what's involved when ULA recycles a launch 24 hours later.
Well, Daryl, that's true, and even in a situation like this where we're still working through the details of the issue that caused the hold, by default we're going to set ourselves up to come back at our next earliest opportunity, which is tomorrow. So our default position is going to be setting up for that 24-hour turnaround, and there are a number of things that go into that coordination. The first of which would be immediately coordinating with the Space Launch Delta 45, our Eastern Range partner, to let them know that we are. And so we'll be coordinating that with their teams, and all the support that we get from the SLD 45. And additionally, we'll be working to establish our systems on Launchpad 41 in a state that is ready for another launch attempt tomorrow. So even though we do still have some work to do this afternoon, which will include detanking Atlas and Centaur, at the end of the day, probably approximately 4 hours from now, we'll have the vehicle fully detanked, and we'll have the systems turned around and ready for another countdown opportunity tomorrow. So that could take a little bit longer if the anomaly team comes up with some troubleshooting steps that we need to run through. But have not heard anything like that just yet. For now, I think our team is still looking at data. But we're going to proceed as if we're going to make an attempt tomorrow until such time as we learn that.
Yeah,
that
they don't have it. They just have no idea right now why they don't know why the computer scrubbed the launch less than 4 minutes beforehand, and so they don't know what they have to fix and how long it'll take.
Tomorrow, if the NASA, ULA, and Boeing teams decide to take it, it's worth noting that T0 is already set for June 2nd, and it's 12:03 and roughly 07 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Again, 12:03:05 p.m. Eastern Time, as you're looking at the blue team configuring the crew access arm around the Starliner capsule, where inside astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams are inside awaiting to be egressed or pulled out of the capsule. You can see the tethers that the blue team are attached to for safety reasons. They're 212 feet up in the air on level 12. And you see they've got make sure their tethers are attached well. As they work to bring that environmental seal down, we'll see them doing that.
So the launch tomorrow, if it happened tomorrow, would be at 12:03 Eastern Time.
And Daryl, in situations like this, we have the rocket here on Launch Pad 41, and that does get most of our attention, but it's easy to sometimes lose track of the fact that we do really have a large network of assets that support missions.
Our viewer Soulstar thinks that the ground crew knows what the fault was and they have to verify and validate. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. The people in the know there, do they have a good idea of what it was and they just want to, make 100% sure? That I don't know. I'm sure they'll announce it eventually, what it was. But there's been no public announcement about, and I can't say whether they've figured out yet why the computer that takes over the launch shortly before the launch, put it on hold.
Number of teams involved, as you mentioned, Space Force, just one of them with responsibility for the range. Of course, your team, United Launch Alliance, with a great effort there with the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket, Boeing with the Starliner spacecraft, NASA with a commercial crew program, and the engineers and managers who oversee that program to make sure that America has access to one of its most cherished resources, orbiting laboratory 250 miles above the surface of the Earth, the International Space Station, where astronauts there were hoping to get an arrival 24 hours later of this particular capsule. But as Sonny Williams has said at more than a couple of meetings that I've listened to, there's nothing magical about this time or date to launch. You want to launch when everything is ready, and that is not today, but the teams will study whether or not that opportunity is tomorrow. As you can see there now, the blue team, one member on his stomach, making sure to seal up that environmental enclosure there in the white room. And Lauren, taking this hatch off is a process as well. We saw them secure it, and now they're getting ready to remove it.
Yep, exactly. Like I said earlier, really it's just doing everything in reverse. And, they had practice doing this. Just a little.
Hey, thanks to all of our moderators who've been here. Ruth Krafasi moderating right now, Cynthia Moon, really appreciate it. And BZ, Linda Belk and Larry moderate for us on X. Over there on Twitch, Big Ball of Yarn, David Green, Mick Britches, Tariag. K. Larry Body has been over there on Facebook. And so NASA already uses the SpaceX, I think it's the Crew Dragon. They already use a SpaceX capsule. And this is a different company's crew capsule, the Boeing Starliner. They want to have multiple ones they can use. But this one was about to do its first manned test launch today, and it was scrubbed less than 4 minutes before the launch. And according to CBS News, they say that the SpaceX's Crew Dragon has already taken 12 flights to the space station. This flight today was supposed to take the 2 astronauts to the space station for a week and to dock at the space station, but it has been delayed. My plan is, if I'm not covering something else, I would like to cover the next flight, the flight of this, the next attempt. You can see it says there, next launch opportunity. That's when, I guess, the Earth will be in the right position and everything will line up position-wise, would be tomorrow at 12:03 p.m. But if they're going to launch tomorrow, they got to figure out what went wrong today and how to fix it. So we'll see if that happens by tomorrow. I have no idea if the launch will be tomorrow. But that's if it's tomorrow at 12:03, we'll cover it tomorrow. Yeah, so
today
maybe we'll see. I'd like to stay with this until the crew comes out. We'll give it a few minutes and see if we see anything here.
Like you said, even with a successful launch, there's an extensive data review that goes into every bit of data that was collected during that flight, and days like that goes into every bit of data that was collected during that flight, and days like today with the launch scrub is no different. So there's a lot of data collected, a lot of data to review, and we'll take advantage of that in order to put ourselves in the best position to continue with an opportunity at the next earliest opportunity when it's right to do so.
We just heard on the nets, I just heard our team here of commentators, Dylan Rice with United Launch Alliance, Lauren Brennicke with Boeing Starliner, and myself, Daryl Nell, here with NASA, that the White Room is now configured to begin hatch open operations. Again, the White Room is now configured for the team that you see in front of you to begin opening. If you're just joining us, we had a launch abort at T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Happened at 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time. We were counting down towards a 12:25 p.m. launch when the ground launch sequencer issued an abort command that stopped the launch of the Atlas V rocket and Boeing Starliner spacecraft. The reason that this ground computer called it is not known at this time, though ULA is looking at the data and studying that.
Our viewer, I'll say Glass
Immediately
H.
afterwards, the ULA team began to what's called safe the rocket, essentially making sure that all of those high energy systems are put into a configuration that is safe for people to be out there on the pad and for the astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, to come out of the capsule and head back to astronaut crew quarters. It also signals a time where this team right here was able to re-enter what's called a blast danger area, or BDA, and that's the area around the pad, because when this rocket is fully tanked, should something happen to it, there's an area in which it is considered dangerous. That rocket has to be put into a safe configuration before they allowed the blue team to come on board. That took about 20 or 30 minutes, the ULA team working through their procedures, and successfully so, as you can see now. And now we are just watching them as they work, providing you with the transparency on this operation.
Our viewer Glass H doesn't think it's going to happen tomorrow, the launch. I don't know what the chances are of this launch happening tomorrow. Who knows? You know, we'll have to just see. What is the issue? Boeing says this Starliner is designed for missions to low Earth orbit. Hang on one moment here. Trying to get you a little summary of Starliner. Wikipedia says it is a partially reusable spacecraft designed to transport crew to the International Space Station and other low Earth orbit destinations. The spacecraft consists of a reusable crew module and an expendable service module. It is 15 feet in diameter. It can hold up to 7 people and can remain docked at the International Space Station for up to 7 months. It is designed for reuse on up to 10 missions. It is launched on an Atlas V rocket. The first crewed test flight was supposed to be in 2017. It is currently 2024. I'd like to go until at least the crew comes out, but I don't know how long that's going to be. I'll give it a few more minutes. Let me read some more comments here.
You're watching NASA's coverage of the scrub of the Boeing Starliner and Atlas V rocket launch scheduled for today at 12:25 p.m. Eastern Time. It was scrubbed just 4 minutes before. You're watching the blue team inside the white room at Launch Complex 41 configure that space so that they can begin removing that hatch, where inside the Starliner you have astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams awaiting to egress or leave the spacecraft. ULA teams are studying an issue that popped up during the countdown. The ground launch sequencer issued an abort call and the countdown was halted just 4 minutes before liftoff. Cause for that is unknown, but teams are discussing.
Thanks to our new member, Justin Lamb. Thanks also to Yoshams for your support. Thanks, Yoshams. New York Times says the goal of this flight was to add another spacecraft capable of carrying humans to the NASA fleet. They say that this vehicle, built by Boeing, has already faced years of technical setbacks and costly delays. That's according to the New York Times. The New York Times also points out that from 2011 to 2020, the only way astronauts could get to the International Space Station was aboard Russian rockets. And then in 2020, 2 NASA astronauts flew to the ISS aboard SpaceX
Boeing's
Crew Dragon. Currently, the only way to get to the space station, currently the only way to get to orbit from the U.S.
Boeing's Blue Team now working on the hatch.
Sorry.
To
the New York Times
Starliner spacecraft. Got one of the panels open.
Oh.
We'll start working to.
Here we go.
Loosen up the boat, so to speak, and get the hatch opened up and get Sonny and Butch on their way out.
The New York Times says currently the only way for NASA.
We've got Dylan Rice with us here. He is a launch conductor for ULA, not for this mission, but many other missions that ULA has launched. And he is our commentator for today with ULA. And as he has said in our coverage, our post-scrub coverage here, that teams are very much focused on the
I just want to mention this.
Getting Sonny and Butch out.
So again, the New York Times said that currently there's only one way to get people into orbit from the U.S., from the United States, and that is the SpaceX spacecraft Crew Dragon. NASA is hoping that this Starliner, Boeing Starliner spacecraft will add another way to get crews to orbit from the United States.
Kind of talk me through.
Yes, and by the way, the Times also says that this was an instantaneous launch window. So it had to launch at a specific time. It couldn't be delayed. So once the hold held it and it missed the time, that was it for today.
The computer detects a condition that it did not expect during terminal count. So the computer is really in control of the final 4 minutes of the countdown. Our operators verbalize the status of the terminal countdown as the computer runs its script and executes the final steps to launch the rocket. But the computer is really monitoring thousands of parameters and executing commands very, very quickly. And so we still don't have any good clear word yet on what caused this particular hold, but these kinds of holds occur when a command goes out and the computer cannot verify the proper response to a command. And so don't really have any indication yet as to which system that the issue may have been associated with. We just know that it was a computer-controlled hold that was initiated, and so our team immediately went into the securing steps to establish a safe, stable configuration for the vehicle. And we're going to maintain.
Hey, they're getting the crew out. Looks like the crew's going to. They opened the hatch, right?
At which point we'll begin detanking the rocket once we have the Blue Team and the Starliner crew clear of launch complex.
Looks like they're about to get the. Well, I don't know. There might be like 10 things they have to take off or something. They're certainly making their way, but I don't know how many things they have to take off before the crew can come out. Ricky Jin says capsule door opened. I saw they took something off, but I don't know how many things they have to take off. Thanks to SW from Argentina, I think. No, I will not be doing Champions League final coverage. I didn't even know it was the Champions League final. No, we're not going to be doing coverage of that.
What we do know is
Sorry.
we have a backup attempt on Sunday, tomorrow. June 2nd at 12:03 p.m. Eastern Time. That's available if the teams are able to recycle 24 hours and get back out to the pad. That hasn't been determined yet.
We're going to do a poll. Will the launch happen tomorrow?
I'm listening to the nets now as the Capcom talks to the crew inside, giving them updates essentially to what's happening outside the capsule.
We're doing a poll. Will it happen tomorrow? I'm putting the poll up right now.
Which is executing our countdown procedures in the Launch Control Center, as was visible on some of the cameras. And that team is really focused on maintaining the configuration of the vehicle. We do have a separate engineering team that is going to be poring over the data that we collected in order to assess the issue that caused the scrub. And that way that data evaluation does not in any way take away from the focus of our launch team in maintaining a proper and safe configuration of the rocket and of Launch Complex 41 while we have people out there. So it's two separate teams that are kind of dividing and conquering what we have ahead of us today with the scrub, and we'll continue to maintain that posture with the one team maintaining control of the vehicle, and that'll be the same team that handles the detanking while the other team begins that data evaluation and works through the cause of the hold we had today.
That's a great point, Dylan. It is. I think you can liken it to the same posture that the systems engineers who are sitting on console, responsible for the various numerous systems that allow a rocket to launch into space. It's just like we're in a countdown, about T-minus or L-minus 1 hour out. Very much focused on their consoles, watching the data, making sure that this rocket, which is still very much a live rocket at this point, is behaving and the data is coming back. That is all nominal and safe while this operation happens. So I don't think it can be understated the focus that ULA is putting on that at this moment.
Okay, hey, one of our viewers had a question. Our viewer and subscriber Whiskey Pack said, "Why is the launch time so specific instead of having a launch time window?" So first of all, a launch window, the European Space Agency says the launch window is a term used to describe a time period in which a particular mission must be launched. If the spacecraft intends to rendezvous with another spacecraft, a planet, or another point in space, in this case they're going to rendezvous with the International Space Station, the launch must be carefully timed so that the orbits overlap at some point in the future. So it's just the physics of it works out such that if they want to go to the space station, they just have to launch at certain particular times. Given how fast the rocket travels and what the orbit ends up being, they got to get it to the same point as the space station. So it's just the way that works out. That I'm not an expert on the physics of it, but it works out that there's just certain short launch windows. There's one tomorrow, there's one on the 5th, there's one on the 6th. It's just, it comes down to the physics of it. And also, one of our viewers mentioned weather. The weather can affect a launch too. But, there's just certain times they can launch so that the orbits will overlap. All right, so I'm just wrapping up this poll here. Why am I seeing things under there? Hold on. Let me just end this. So the poll ended up being 67% no, and 68% no, 32% yes for the launch tomorrow. And then over there on Twitch, the vote was 74% no for tomorrow and 26% yes, it'll happen tomorrow.
That Butch and Sonny didn't sound disappointed when we heard them on the loops, and it's because again, it comes back to professionalism. I think everybody on the working console is probably a little disappointed today, and that comes with flight tests, that comes with space flights. I remember back in the shuttle days, we would play this game, of getting ready for launch and then scrubbing and then coming back and getting the mission done. And I think over time we won't remember today as or May 6th so much, because we're going to have a great launch in our future. I know there's some disappointment there, but like we mentioned before, it's the team is focused on getting the launch vehicle, the rocket safed, so that the crew could come out, and that the spacecraft itself, the prop system, was safed, and that everything is good, so that everybody can come out safely, and then they'll work with the 24-hour turn that ULA is good at, so to see if they can find when the next launch opportunity is. But we're going to continue being professional and safe. And
hey, the crew. Sorry, I think I missed it. Did I miss one of the crew coming out? I see one of the crew right there. Or did I not miss it? What am I looking at right here? Sorry, I was looking over. I was trying to get you some updates. I saw NASA posted something. But wait, so I see a crew member there. Did I miss a crew member? I only see one. Where's the second one? I see one on the left. Is there a second one who I'm missing? Where's the second one? Oh, the second one's back there. Okay, there are two there. Yes. Now I can see both of them on the left there. I could only see one at the top. Yes, so they're both in there, but they're out of their seats.
During this attempt.
NASA posted about 20 minutes ago on their X account saying the ULA launch team is working to understand the cause of today's launch scrub. The next launch opportunity is tomorrow at 12:03 p.m.
To try again tomorrow or whenever that date may be.
Jesse's girl says, get them out.
Just going through the process, simulations, a process we have gone through.
Oh, there it is. Hey, there's one. There's one astronaut out. One astronaut is out. Breaking news. One astronaut out, one to go.
Spacecraft, and she's going to put some protective boot covers on her shoes, and they'll take her some items from her put it back in her helmet bag, and it looks like Butch is about to be heading out also. They're going to go back to crew quarters at this time and get ready to do it again when the
there he is. There's Butch Wilmore. Butch Wilmore and
you
Suni
were
Williams.
There,
okay, the crew is out.
Quarters on May 6th after the first launch attempt. Can
Only
you talk
two
to
crew for
us
this
about,
mission.
Their demeanor then.
Yes, they were.
All right, guys. All right, so we're watching this right now. I wanted to. We got to see the crew get out. The crew made it out. That's something. Yay! Jesse's girl says yay. Ricky Jin says they are out. Uno Bruno says glad they are safe. Difficult times. All right, that's what we were waiting to see. We were waiting to see that, so we'll let them walk out. But yeah, so again, if this happens tomorrow, I'll cover it. I'd like to cover this whenever it happens, but we'll see. They have to. I don't know. I would not be at all surprised if it doesn't happen tomorrow. I mean, that's a quick turnaround, but they have to figure out what happened. Because there was a launch that was scrubbed in early May, and then that kind of kept getting pushed. The date for that got pushed. I think that was the last attempted launch. I think. Let me see if I can find this here. Was May 4th. May 4th or May 6th or something? Let's see. Yeah, I know there was an attempt in early May. May 6th. May 6th. Yeah, so the last attempt before this was May 6th, and they had some issues, and they didn't end up trying it again until today. Oops, let me just refresh this. So hopefully they can do it soon, but we'll have to just see. Oops. All right, let me take a few last comments from you guys. Peter Ramirez says, third time is a blank. Thanks, Wickedest Witch. Gary BB says, the crew is NASA. Yeah, the rocket is built, I think, by ULA. And The rocket is an Atlas V rocket. And that is built by ULA, which is a joint venture between Lockheed Martin and Boeing. So Boeing builds the spacecraft, and then ULA builds the rocket, but Boeing is part of ULA. Yeah, I do have a concern. Look, as we look at, is it Butch Wilmore there? One of the astronauts. So I have this concern that we have all of these. This is my amateur, total non-space expert concern and non-space flight expert concern. Given all of these relatively new spacecraft, we have SpaceX Crew Dragon, I guess, has been working since 2020. The Crew Dragon. And then we have this one. Then we have that Blue Origin has been launching. Blue Origin has been launching space tourism flights. And I think Blue Origin is actually working on a vehicle for NASA, if I have that right. And then was it Virgin? What was the Richard Branson space company? They were taking people to space. And I'm just concerned with all of these new spacecraft that something could go wrong with one of them and have an accident. New Shepard? Hold on. Ralph mentioned New Shepard. Hold on a second. Hold on. And then no time for the States. A SpaceX Starship. Virgin Galactic is the British-American spaceflight company founded by Richard Branson. Virgin Galactic. Galactic 07. Sorry. Wikipedia says Virgin Galactic's Galactic 07, scheduled for June 2024, is planned to be the final flight of Unity as the company shifts focus to its Delta class and higher launch cadence. And then, so there's all these, relatively new spacecraft that are going up there, and I'm just concerned that eventually there'll be an accident with one of them. I mean, I hope there's not, obviously, but... Blue Origin is the second provider of lunar lander services for NASA's Artemis program, according to Wikipedia. Anyways, I'm not up to date on all the different spacecraft, but there's just a lot of new spacecraft out there. Hang on, I want to read a few more comments from you guys. Megatron says, I'm worried about the same. Will more commercial competitiveness lead to better safety or more accidents? Yeah, New Shepard is a fully reusable suborbital launch vehicle designed for space tourism by Blue Origin. That's from Wikipedia. All right, guys. So, well, I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream, but I really appreciate you guys being with me today. I'm sorry we didn't get to see the launch. I was looking forward to seeing the launch, but the computer... the launch computer, which basically takes over the launch a few minutes before the launch, put it on hold, and we still don't know exactly why it got put on hold and the launch was scrubbed. We don't know. So we'll have to see if this happens tomorrow. Most of you think it's not going to happen tomorrow. This is interesting. I want to give you one more update here. So Marcia Smith, who's with Space Policy Online, she says that there's the window tomorrow for launch, and then there's also a window on June 5th and June 6th. Marcia Smith says if they don't launch by June 6th, the rocket and the spacecraft need to get some life-limited items like batteries replaced, so it will be a while. That's very interesting. So either it happens by the 6th or there's going to be a more significant delay, according to Marcia Smith. Hang on one second here. Bad Papa Band says the rocket has to be recertified. Maybe that's the case. I don't know all the specifics, but again, Marcia Smith says if it doesn't launch by the 6th, the rocket and the spacecraft need to get some life-limited items, like batteries replaced, so it'll be a while. So again, tomorrow is the next window, and then there's a window June 5th and June 6th. I really appreciate you guys being here. Sorry we couldn't show the launch. Subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage here at Agenda Free TV. Sometimes we cover, I don't cover every space launch, but I feel like the more significant ones I like to cover. I mean, I think this is pretty significant. The first manned Boeing Starliner flight of this spacecraft. But unfortunately, it did not happen today. Although maybe it's fortunate if it would have been an accident. So subscribe, follow the channel, and turn your notifications on. And I will post updates. If I hear updates about this, I will put another breaking news. I will post it here on my X account, which is @Lookner on X. You can follow me over there on X @Lookner. And I want to thank, again, you for watching, and also a lot of interesting questions and comments today. Thanks for letting me read your comments and writing in. Hey, let's thank our moderators for being here today. Thank you, moderators. Ruth Krafasi, Sarah55 over there on YouTube, Kinetic. Our moderators, that's why we can have chats, as our moderators. So huge thanks to them. Cynthia Moon, Beezy, all of our other moderators over there on YouTube. Linda Belk and Larry moderate for us on X. Thank you. Over there on Facebook, I know Kay Larry Body was moderating. Margaret Riley, thank you so much. Christina Neal, big thanks. On Twitch, thanks to our mods there. David Green, Idaho Star, and all of our other mods there. Let's see. And, Brian, I'm not going to cover it. Brian Bregard says there's supposed to be a post-launch news conference at 2 p.m. Yeah, so I had read something about that, Brian. I'm not sure it'll still be at 2 p.m. Also, I don't know if they'll know by then what the cause was. So I'm not going to be covering the news conference. But yes, as Brian points out, yeah, Marcia Smith, who's a reporter with Space Policy Online, she says she's not sure if there's going to be the 2 p.m. news conference. There's going to be a news conference at 2 p.m. or not. But she says hopefully they'll explain it at a news conference today. Then one of our viewers said 2:15, Mike Kelly. Anyways, I'm not going to be covering that here, but you can look, go watch NASA on YouTube, for example, or go to the NASA website. And I'm assuming you'll be able to watch it there. Let's see here. Hey, a reminder, I never know when we're going live. I mean, I kind of knew for this, but a lot of the breaking news I cover, it's like kind of out of the blue. So I can't tell you in advance, like, here's our schedule. But a really good way that you can make sure you catch our live streams is sign up to our free notifications. We have set up a notification system such that you sign up once and it's free, and you get sent a notification right before we go live every single time. It works awesome. We do it through Discord. So if you want to sign up for the free notifications, the mods will post that notification link in the chat. You can also find it in the description of this broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. And at the same link, you can check out our Discord chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. A lot of our viewers like doing that, and that's free as well. So check out our Discord chat. Thanks to our Discord moderators. And if anybody's interested in being a volunteer moderator, that'd be awesome. Sometimes there's a wait list for that, but you can ask our mods for more information. Oh, thanks to everybody who donated. I think I thanked everybody individually, but I really appreciate people who donated because that's what keeps this channel going and allows us to do all this coverage. So I really appreciate your support. If anybody's interested ever in making a donation, you go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv, but appreciate your support for the channel. And looks like, is this a drone shot? Is that what we're looking at? Probably. And DJS says, at least the van works. Seven Snow says, better to reschedule than blow up. Thomas Darwin says, I want that van. Let's see. Hey, I want to say a quick thanks to our Twitch subscribers like Unleashed Flute, Haas McKayfabe, and Whiskey Pack, Wall Street, Shaggy, all of our subscribers over there on Twitch. Thanks for supporting the channel. On Facebook, our subscribers. Again, I am still dealing with Facebook. There's an issue with the subscriptions, and the badges are not there right now. So we're trying to get the subscriptions fixed on Facebook. I'm sorry about that. It's the whole thing, but I am in contact with Facebook trying to get that fixed. So thanks to everybody who subscribes on Facebook, even if your badges aren't there. Eve Richards, Lou Green, for example, Lacey Carter, Margaret Riley, Kay Larry Body, Billy Joe Dreys, Juster Singer, and the rest. I'm working on that. And thanks to our YouTube members as well, people like Janet Burnett, $500 fine, Eric Johnson, Lucky Minute, Mythical, Flor Morena, Zai Lee, Mike Kelly, Star, Sean C., Giuseppe 3K, Megatron, Overfear, Michael Sotart, PZ Papazulu, Jelly Plane, Storm Laughter, Stephen Elder. Thanks for being YouTube members. Deborah Hennessy, Wickedest Witch, Jesse's Girl, all of our YouTube members, Joe Hart, and George Smith as well. Thanks, George, for being a member. And I had a great professor once, George Smith. I don't think that's George Smith in the chat. Yes, the launch has been scrubbed for today. And hey, one more quick reminder. That I do have a personal channel where when I'm not covering news, I sometimes do some non-news live streaming, and the personal channel is called Lookner on YouTube and Look Nerd with a D on Twitch. You can check that out if you want to check out some non-news live streams. And a quick reminder, if you do, for those subscribing on YouTube, there's this kind of weird thing you have to do to turn on notifications from YouTube. You have to, on YouTube, click the notifications bell and then click all so you get all the notifications. I know it's kind of weird. That's how they do it over there. All right, guys, I am going to wrap this up. So if they launch tomorrow, I'm planning on covering it, but we'll have to see if they actually do launch tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to cover this whenever it happens. But I really appreciate you being here for the chat. If there's big news later today or tonight, we will cover it as well. All right, so big thanks to you guys for watching. We got to see some interesting stuff anyway. I thought it was interesting, all of what happened and all the NASA stuff. And being able to watch the NASA stream. Yeah, if they relaunch, it's going to be another manned crew. It's going to be the same mission with the same two crew. Thanks, Jack's Animals, all of our viewers there on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And Jax is a subscriber too. Thanks, Janet Burnett, Peter Ramirez. Thanks for watching. Melody J. Mark Corson 1. Thanks, folks. All right, wrapping it up. We are wrapping this up. This has been our live coverage of the attempted Boeing Starliner launch. Scrubbed 3 minutes and 50 seconds before the launch. Who knows? Maybe we'll be back here tomorrow or in a few days covering the next time they attempt this. Okay, so maybe tomorrow, maybe the 5th, maybe the 6th, or maybe later. That is it for now. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.